special counsel's office, and it hasn't been back. So
hasn't been back since. The narrow set of questions. Stay with us. We'll discuss it more. This news breaking on a day when we're also told that John Kelly's days, hours at the White House may be numbered. Let's bring in Caitlin Collins live at the White House. Caitlin, what do we know?
Well, John, we know that John Kelly is expected to resign in the coming days and leave the West Wing after a tumultuous 17 months. And now with the headlines that John Kelly has been questioned by Mueller's team, he is only further out in the news today, not a place that the chief of staff likes to be. But we're told that even though the president and John Kelly have had this up-down, back-and-forth relationship for some time now, and John Kelly has been on the verge of being fired or resigning multiple times before, we're told, John, that this time is different because his relationship with the president has deteriorated so greatly that the two men are not on speaking terms. Yes, they've been in the same room for some meetings. Yes, they've been in the Oval Office, but they have not been speaking one-on-one to each other, and that is a sign of just how bad things are. And President Trump realizes that, and he also is looking ahead to the next 2 years and the Democrats taking over the House in Washington just in come January, and he wants to be able to have someone in that position who can help him shape the last 2 years of his first term, and he doesn't feel that John Kelly is the person for that job. Now, the president is traveling to Kansas City today, and we should note that the chief of staff, John Kelly, did not travel with him, and he is not in his office in the West Wing either. John?
Okay, Collins, the White House, that sounds like the very definition of dysfunction. The White House chief of staff is not on one-on-one speaking terms with his boss, the president. Caitlin, appreciate the reporting. Evan Parrott still with us here in the studio. Also joining us as we continue the conversation, CNN's Pam Brown and Michael Zeldin, former federal prosecutor who is Robert Mueller's special assistant at the Justice Department. Let's come back to this. It's a lot of pieces. Right. And one of the challenges in trying to cover this investigation is we're going to see memos filed today about Michael Cohen. We're going to see memos filed today about Paul Manafort. We have this news now that John Kelly sits down as part of the obstruction investigation. Bob Mueller has been very good at giving us crumbs, and it's really hard to see the bakery, if you will, and put this all together. So I want to stick with John Kelly for 1 second in the sense that so they come to a president of the United States. It's the president's decision in the end. The special counsel wants to interview your chief of staff. Michael, let me start with you on the legal question of that. The president has every right, whether you like or dislike the president, whatever your politics, the president has every right to have a small group of people with whom he can get private advice. How do you make the case as a prosecutor that I have the right to this information?
So the president has the right to withhold testimony that implicates executive privilege or deliberative process privilege. So if the communications are about policy matters that the chief of staff is providing the president, then that's the basis for executive privilege. If it's not that, it's not as easily established. What Evan said is very interesting to me, which is that they initially resisted the testimony, but they said, we'll give it to you if you can establish the two standards of SB, that it is necessary and you can get it for nobody else. And apparently Mueller satisfied that because they made Kelly available. If Mueller is able to meet that standard as to Kelly, then one has to wonder, why can't he make it, if he hasn't already, as to anybody else he wants to interview? And does that mean that down the line, if the president resists a subpoena for testimony, SB has been already met and they get to talk to the president?
SB, a case of previous precedent in this matter. And so we're waiting today to see key documents about Michael Cohen, key documents about Paul Manafort. The question, let me start with Manafort. The question there is, Robert Mueller says this guy got a plea deal. He promised to cooperate, and he lied to us. And we said, we know you're lying, and he continued to lie to us. What we don't know are these lies about the pre-Trump Manafort world, for which he was put on trial for, essentially sleazy lobbying and not disclosing money and hiding money and the like, or is it in Trump land once he becomes chairman of the campaign? We don't know the answer to that question, right?
No, we certainly don't, and that is the key question here. Were his lies, according to Mueller's team, having to do with the president, the Trump campaign, any dealings with Russia during that time frame, or was it before his dealings with Ukraine or Russia? Now, what is significant is my colleague Dana Bash spoke to Rudy Giuliani today, who said that, and we reported that Manafort's team has been in contact with the president's lawyers, and he told Dana that in the meetings between Manafort and Mueller's team, that Mueller's team believed he was lying on issues relating to the president, particularly as it pertained to the Trump Tower meeting and the president's knowledge of it. Manafort had denied that the president had any knowledge that his son Don Jr. was meeting with Russians at Trump Tower. And so according to Rudy Giuliani, that is something that Mueller's team has made clear, that they do believe Manafort has lied to issues pertaining to the president. But the question is,